Hi, William Wood here. I am a hypnotist with Northern Utah Hypnosis Center, and I help people just like you lose the weight that you want to lose. Now let me tell you a little bit about what we're going to talk about today. Today we're going to talk about why it's important to change your relationship with food and not just try to force a change. What I see with most people when they go on a diet is they do something that's so preposterous that there's just no way to make the diet happen without just sheer force of will. No pun intended, right? Since my first name is Will. And what happens is that they struggle, and the reason they struggle is because their behaviors have changed, but who they are in relationship to the food hasn't yet changed. And so they're just making that change with sheer muscle. Now don't get me wrong, I think that making a decision to change, making a commitment to lose the weight, and making an active game plan and setting goals might be as much as half of the battle. But there's another half. And the other half is learning to change your relationship with food. How do you look at food? How do you think about it? Is food evidence, like I think Ben Franklin once said about beer? He says, beer is evidence that God loves us and wants us to be happy. Well, I know some people who feel that way about food. They say, well, food is just evidence that, we're being smiled on from above. I live to eat. Or have you changed your mind so much that food is just another tool, that food is a tool to help you feel good? Not in the moment, but throughout the day. Is food a source of energy or is it a source of pleasure? And I will tell you that when you make that change to having food be an energy source, something to help your body feel light and fit and healthy, not in the moment, but throughout the day, that everything will turn around. Let me tell you about a conversation that I had a couple years back. A couple came in to see me. And I'm going to change some of the details just enough that you could never figure out who these people are. But a couple came in to see me. And the husband had an amazing weight issue. And the wife was just thin as a rail. I asked the husband a couple of questions as I was gathering information. I said, how do you know how do you know what to eat? How do you choose your foods? And what he told me just confirmed the problem that I thought he'd have. He says, well, really, and he started to make a movement like this. I just start thinking about what's going to taste good, what's going to feel good in my mouth, and what's going to just bring me all sorts of comfort in the moment. And that's what he did, right? And I'm not exaggerating too much with the gestures. That's almost exactly what he looked like. He was just, you could see he was like having a love affair with food right there. Because food to him meant comfort and joy. Food for him meant pleasure in the mouth. Well, his wife had stepped out for a minute. His wife comes back, and his wife is just thin as a rail. And I said, well, now, are you the kind of thin person that just is, blessed with amazing genetics? Or do you work at it? And she says, well, I don't really work at it, but I'm not blessed with amazing genetics either. And I says, well, how do you stay so thin? Tell me, how do you select your foods? And here's what she said to me. She said, I choose my foods based on how I'm going to feel later if I eat that now. She says, what I say to myself is, how will this food make me feel later today? Is it going to give me energy or take energy away? Think about the stark difference between those two answers. On the one hand, I eat to feel the pleasure of the food in my mouth versus I eat to have energy and to feel good later in the day. It's a major difference, isn't it? Well, the difference didn't stop there. So then I asked the man, I said, well, tell me a little bit about how you know when to stop eating. He says, well, I get that feeling. And I says, what kind of feeling? He says, well, it's like my stomach starts to stretch. And I says, oh, so you stop when your stomach stretches? He goes, no, that's just the first sign. And then he goes, then I start to get this pressure building up in my neck. like the food's about to come back up, and that's when I know it's time to stop. Well, that, I will submit to you, is the reason why this man weighed almost 250 pounds overweight. He wasn't stopping until he literally felt his food pressing back up on his esophagus. So I asked the wife, I says, what about you? How do you know when it's time to stop? She says, I just know that it's time to stop because I know the next bite isn't going to make me feel good later. As I think about how my body will feel throughout the day, I realize that the next bite will just cause my body to feel sluggish and slow. Some major differences. Now, I'm not saying that these are the key differences that you will need to change your relationship with food, but I'd like you to really analyze, your own relationship when it comes to food. Are you one that lives to eat, that lives for the pleasure in the mouth, that lives for the comfort in the moment, or are you one that really has come to the place where food is a tool to help your body perform at its peak performance, that you enjoy food, but you enjoy the foods that help you feel good throughout the day? Now, this is one of many, many changes that I help people make. There is no tool that I know that is more powerful and more consistent at producing this kind of change of moving from someone from here to here. And that's what I want to help you do. So my name is William Wood with Northern Utah Hypnosis Center, and I'd like to help you change your relationship with food so that you can live and be healthy the way you want to. Now, we'll see you again soon with another short little topic on weight loss and hypnosis.